Gonna walk around here, guys. We are in the center of Brisbane, Australia. For me, it's my second time here during this trip, so I have a bit better pulse on this place than I did when I was videoing earlier about a week or so ago. And I'll talk a little bit about Brisbane, I'll talk a little bit about Australia, and I'll try and break down the areas of Brisbane as I've come to understand them so far. That's the town hall, I think the town hall. And there's Queen Street, which if you were to go forward, it's just a walking area. It's all commercial. Stores and restaurants and what you'd expect out of a central walkway in a major city. This is the business district. All these large buildings, skyscrapers line this street, and this must be, I think, the main street for commerce, for a capitalism style business. There's another section called Paddington, which is where you'd go to do boutique shopping and go to really nice restaurants, which is close to their stadium called Suncorp. Suncorp is the insurance company here, and it's got to be the largest in the city for sure, possibly in the nation. There's the stadium's named after it. So it's a big, powerful business. Then there is the West End, which is, I guess, it's the artistic neighborhood of Brisbane, where street musicians used to perform all the time, and people who were kind of sitting on the fringes of society would congregate and just do their thing, play out whatever they needed to in kind of a public setting. And then there's Kangaroo Point, which is just a cliff, and people go on top of it and they can see the cityscape while they're standing on top of it, and the river's below, and then you see all these buildings from that viewpoint. And then there's here the central business district, CBD, people working. Not much to say about that, just kind of a standard operating procedure, as well as nice stores down to the right here. And then there's a place called New Farm or something Farm, and it's where all these old school houses are, these Queenslander homes, which are just a very distinct architecture and somewhat represent Australia as a whole, and definitely Queensland. Queensland is the section, I guess it's one of the states. In Australia, there's the Northern Territory, Southern Territory, Western Australia, Victoria, New South Wales, Queensland, there's Tasmania, and I think I just covered them all. Pretty impressed with myself, if I did nail it. So anyway, let me talk about things that have surprised me here in Australia. One is the nudity. I never mind nudity, I just kind of didn't see it coming when I arrived here, and it hit me in the face when I bought a local paper, and it was, there's this article about this play in which the actors are completely naked, mostly women. Everything, bottomless, topless. And a picture of these naked women was just on the front page of the theater section of the newspaper. So I did kind of a double take and then realized they aren't shy about nudity here and being naked, which is cool. I love it. It's just as an American, we have much tighter restrictions as to what we can and cannot show out in the public space. So it seems to be a bit more liberal here, a bit looser. Something I didn't see coming. The second thing was, or is, how they police here. I'd always heard Australian people complaining about the government and the police and how they're so strict and they treat us like children. And I think it's kind of true. But I think the citizens play a part. This has got to be one of the most obedient societies I've ever come across. They honor rule of law. I don't see that much crime happening, and I don't feel like people are actively trying to break the law. At least not in front of my eyes. And that may be historical. There's fear of authority that goes back to the, I guess, convict days. So that's an element in society which kind of persists today. And I guess in line with that is the way they police is maybe a bit more parent to child than in other nations. I'm not sure. That's just the feedback I've gotten from people who talk about it. And I experienced it when I was riding my bike right here in the center, and just, you know, going for a bike ride, kind of cycling about, and kind of out of nowhere 2 policemen show up. I say, all right, hi, you know, not really rattled, just kind of I didn't know why they stopped me. And they asked me what I'm doing, where I'm going. I just say, you know, just going for a bike ride. How long have you been here? I tell them so many days, and they say, okay, you're not wearing a helmet. And I think, no, that's true. And they said, where are you from? And I tell them, America. And they said, it's illegal what you're doing. I started laughing. I'm like, well, what am I doing? And they're like, you have to wear a helmet when you ride your bike, or else it's a like $160 fine. I'm like, all right. So I didn't see that coming. I wasn't aware of the law, and they told me I have to go, you know, buy a bicycle helmet. And say, okay, no problem.
Thank you, honey.
And I said, yeah, you know, in my country, in the US, just adults don't have to wear helmets. Children do. That's just kind of the culture I'm used to. So wasn't trying to go against your laws here. I simply was unaware. So they were fine with it, and they just let me go, like whatever. But I think some of the people who live here or feel like that's a bit much, that mandating that full-grown adults have to wear bicycle helmets is a bit over the top, and I don't really have an opinion on it. I mean, or at least I don't think it. Maybe I do. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't love it if I lived here, but so that's just a big cultural difference right there, where we can just ride bikes without having to wear helmets. Here you have to. And the reason actually was financial. They said, look, if you fell and had to go to the hospital, who's going to pay for it? So their concern is kind of safety, but it's really, they don't want to foot medical bills. And here, I guess government takes care of more medical bills than in the States, so they may enact laws in order to try and limit their medical expenditure. So I mean, financially, I get it. It's just that's how Australia rolls.